My mom left me at my grandparents' house when I was 12, less than a year after my dad died. 8 years later, she came back, not to love me, but to squeeze $5,000 out of me with injuries she suddenly claimed I caused. And when I didn't pay, she showed up at my job and tried to paint me as her abusive daughter. My dad had been my safe place. Sunday pancake towers, bedtime stories, even when I rolled my eyes. Then cancer took him, and our home went quiet. My mom didn't hold me together. She unraveled, and I was the loose thread she cut. One afternoon, she sat me down and said I was going to stay with Grandma and Grandpa. I thought it meant a few weeks. She meant forever. I begged. I promised I'd be easier. I offered to shrink myself down to nothing. She still packed my bag and drove away. I called her until my fingers hurt. Sometimes she answered, sounding annoyed, like I was a telemarketer. "Stop calling. You're making this harder," she said. Later, I learned why. She'd met a man who'd marry her on one condition: no kid. And my mom chose a ring over her own child. For 8 years, she vanished. No birthdays, no holidays, no graduation. My grandparents did everything they could, but they were older, and grief made me sharp-edged. I grew up anyway. I worked. I paid my bills. I stopped expecting her shadow to show up. Then she called from a number I didn't know. "Hi, honey," she said, like we'd spoken yesterday. She tried small talk. I asked what she wanted. She went dramatic. "It's life or death. Please meet me." Against my better judgment, I did. At the cafe, she looked tired and worn, and for one stupid second, I almost felt bad. Then she admitted she'd been keeping tabs through my grandparents. She apologized in that slippery way people do when they want a reset button. I was scared. I needed support, she said. I stared at her and realized she was still talking about herself. I stood up. "You don't get to rewrite 8 years," I said, and I walked out. She didn't accept that. She spammed calls. She texted from new numbers when I blocked her. Finally, I called my grandparents and asked why she had my number. My grandma's silence answered first. Then she confessed my mom's husband had left her. They'd tried for kids. It never happened. And once she couldn't give him a baby, he bailed. Now my mom wanted me back like a replacement part. 2 weeks later, my grandparents invited me to dinner. I walked in and felt the air was wrong. My grandma smiled too hard. My grandpa didn't move from the TV. I sat down anyway, trying to pretend. Then I heard her voice from the hallway. I froze with my fork hovering midair. Then she stepped into the dining room, smiling. Next she said, "I just need you to listen." I stood up and she blocked my path. Then she grabbed my arm, fingers digging in. I shoved her off and she stumbled back. Again she screamed, "You assaulted me. I'm calling police." My grandparents saw everything. They told her to leave. She fought them, insisting I'd attacked her, until she finally stormed out and slammed the door so hard a picture tilted crooked. A week after that, the texts started again. This time she sent photos: an arm in a sling, bruises that looked like makeup, a neck brace while her hair was perfectly done. "You injured me," she wrote. "Pay $5,000 for my medical bills or I'll sue." When I ignored her, she contacted my grandparents. Then she messaged my friends, fishing for sympathy and pressure. The lowest moment was when she showed up at my workplace. She marched into the lobby and loudly announced my abusive daughter refused to pay her bills. She fake cried to strangers. My manager had security escort her out while I stood there, jaw clenched, feeling 12 years old again. Then, just as fast, she dropped the lawsuit threats. Turns out bluffing is cheaper than hiring a lawyer. I exhaled until my grandma called and casually mentioned my mom had moved into their house. Of course she did. No job, no plan, just my grandparents' retirement money and endless borrowed cash. I still called my grandparents every night, but I stopped visiting until she was gone. They defended her until a police officer drove her home one night, drunk and causing a scene. That was the line. The next morning, my grandpa told her she had 1 month to leave. My grandma felt guilty, but she didn't argue. I didn't feel guilty. I felt relieved. She abandoned me when I needed a mother. Now she was learning what it felt like to be told, "You can't stay."